Hi, this is Ridea Keeping It Real, and we are reading through the Bible using the Good News Bible. We are still on the Apocrypha, almost finished on the book of Esdras. We're up to chapter 6 now, and chapter 6 is where the Jews are going back to Jerusalem. They're getting ready to rebuild the temple. Opposition has reared its ugly head and halted the building of the temple. So chapter 6 is work on the temple begins again. Here we go. Let's get started. In the second year of the reign of Emperor Darius, the two prophets, Haggai and Zechariah, son of Iddo, began to speak in the name of the Lord God of Israel to the Jews who lived in Judah and Jerusalem. When Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Joshua, son of Jozadak, heard their messages, they began to rebuild the temple of Jerusalem, and the two prophets helped them. Almost at once, Governor Sisanias of Greater Syria and Phoenicia, with Sheltar-Bozenai and their fellow officials, came to Jerusalem and demanded, "Who gave you orders to build this temple and complete this roof and everything else? Who is doing this work?" But the Lord was with the people who had returned from exile and was watching over Jewish leaders. Watching over Jewish leaders. And they were allowed to continue building under Emperor Darius until Emperor Darius could be informed and his reply received. Here's the report that the Persian officials sent to the emperor. So they're trying to get him to stop. The Emperor Darius, greetings, your majesty. Should know that we went to Judah and to Jerusalem, and there was found the leaders of the Jews who have returned from exile, building a large new temple for the Lord with expensive shaped stone blocks and with wooden beams. Set in the walls. The work is being done rapidly and is moving ahead steadily, yet they are taking great care and doing their work beautifully. Okay. We then asked the leaders of the people to tell us who had given them orders to rebuild the temple and lay the foundations for the building. We also asked them who their leaders were and demanded a list of their names. Oh, God. So that we could inform you. Like, we're going to stop this any way we can. We just do not want them to have nothing. They answered, "We are servants of the Lord, who created heaven and earth. This temple was built and equipped many years ago by a very powerful king of Israel. But because our ancestors sinned against Israel's Lord in heaven and made him angry, he let them be conquered by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia, a king of Chaldean dynasty. The temple was demolished and burned, and the people were taken in exile in Babylonia. Then in the first year of his reign as emperor, Babylonia, Cyrus issued orders for the temple to be rebuilt. He gave back the sacred gold and silver utensils that Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple in Jerusalem and was placed in his own temple in Babylon. Emperor Cyrus turned these utensils over to Zerubbabel and the governor Shelzai-Bazar. The emperor told Sheshbazzar to take them and return them to the temple in Jerusalem and to rebuild the temple where it had stood before. So Sheshbazzar came and laid its foundation, and construction was continued from then until the present, but the temple is still not finished. Now, if it pleases your majesty, have a search made in the royal records in Babylon to find whether or not the building of the temple in Jerusalem at the approval of Emperor Cyrus. And then, if it pleases your majesty, inform us what your will is in this matter. So they've always been doing this. If they can't beat you back with clubs, they're going to beat you back with paper. King Cyrus' order is rediscovered. So, Emperor Darius ordered a search to be made of the royal records that were kept in Babylon. It was, however, in the fortress of Ecbatana in the province of Media that a scroll was found containing the following record. In the first year of his reign, Emperor Cyrus ordered the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, where sacrifices are continually offered. The temple is to be 90 feet high and 90 feet wide. That's important. The walls must be built with one layer of new local wood on top of each 3 layers of shaped stone. All expenses are to be paid by the royal treasury. Also, the gold and silver utensils which King Nebuchadnezzar brought to Babylon from the temple in Jerusalem are to be returned to the proper place in Jerusalem, in the Jerusalem temple. Emperor Darius orders the work to continue. Then Emperor Darius gave strict orders to Sisanes, governor of Greater Syria and Phoenicia, Shethar-Bezenai, their fellow officials, and the local officials to stay away from Jerusalem, and let Zerubbabel, the servant of the Lord, and governor of Judah, and the other Jewish leaders rebuild the temple of the Lord where it stood before. Like, step away, get back, what are you doing? And I also command, he continued, that it be completely rebuilt, and that until it is finished, every effort be made to help the Jews who have returned from exile. From the taxes received in Greater Syria and Phoenicia, a contribution shall be made on a regular basis to these men, payable to Governor Zerubbabel for bulls, sheep, lambs, to be used in their sacrifices to the Lord in the same way each year and without further question. Like, do not question this. Wheat, salt, wine, olive oil are to be supplied according to the daily needs indicated by the priest. This must be done so that they can make wine offerings to God Most High for me and my children. He's like, hey. Oh, wow. This must be done so they can make wine offerings to God Most High for me and my children and pay for his blessings on our lives. Like, this is about me. These people are close to the Most High God. They are going to pray for me and my children for blessings. He also gave these orders. If anyone disobeys the commands as written above and fails to carry them out, he is to be hanged on a wooden beam taken from his own house. Oh, let me stop. He is to be what? Hanged on a wooden beam taken from his own house and his property to be turned over to the emperor. Oh, yeah. Okay. May the Lord who is worshipped at Jerusalem destroy any king or nation that tries to stop the work or damage the temple there. I, Emperor Darius, issue the command that these orders be carried out in every detail. Go ahead, Darius. What? Okay, he is not playing. The temple is dedicated. Then governor, what's his governor's name? Shethar, Bozaner, I don't know, and their fellow officials did exactly as the emperor had commanded. They better have. They're going to be hung from a beam from their own house if they don't. And gave careful supervision to the work of the temple, helping the Jewish leaders and temple officials. The work made good progress, and the building of the temple, encouraged by the prophets Haggai and Zechariah. I got to go back and read Esdras about that in Haggai and Zechariah. The Jews completed the building according to the command of the Lord, the God of Israel, and the permission of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, emperor of Persia. The temple was completed on the... When was it completed? The temple was completed on the 33rd day of the month of Adar in the 6th year of the reign of Emperor Darius. Then the people of Israel, the priests, the Levites, and all the others who had returned from exile and joined them carried out all the commands of the law of Moses. For the dedication, they offered 100 bulls, 200 sheep, 400 lambs of sacrifice, and 12 goats as an offering for sin. One goat for the leader of each tribe. So one goat for the leader of each tribe. The priest in their robes and the Levites took their positions. Family by family. Remember those families from here? Those families from back here? All these lists. So they took their positions family by family for the temple services of the Lord, the God of Israel, according to the instructions contained in the book of Moses. The temple guards stood at each gate. The Passover. The people of Israel who had returned from exile celebrated the Passover in the 14th day of the month of the following year. The priests and the Levites purified themselves at the same time. Not all the Jews who had returned purified themselves at that time, but the Levites did. The Levites killed the animals for the Passover sacrifices for all the people who had returned for the priest and for themselves. The sacrifices were eaten by all the Israelites who had returned from exile. They worshiped the Lord and rejected the pagan ways of the other people. Who were living in the land. For 7 days, they celebrated the festival of unleavened bread. They rejoiced in the presence of the Lord, the God of Israel, because he had made the plans of the emperor of Assyria favorable to them and had supported them in their work. Great chapters where it was, they tried to stop them, the opposition did. They tried to use administrative ways to stop them, their paperwork. Homeboy Darius came back and said, hold up, wait a minute, this is for them and me, because they are the people of the Most High, and they are praying for me and my family. Get out of the way. Not only get out of the way, help them and make it happen. And that's what happened. They finished the temple. They dedicated the temple. They celebrated a Passover, a real festival or holiday, as we call them, for the Most High. I'm recording this on February 14th, 2026. That would be the fake, made-up holiday of Valentine's Day, which I always thought all these fake holidays were ridiculous. I didn't always think it, but lately, in the last 20 years, I have, this is ridiculous. It's about commercialization, money, spending money for what? You're supposed to love each other every day. So this is no, we don't have to do these fake holidays. Rejected the pagan ways, right? We don't have to do this. We don't have to do this anymore. But what we do need to do is we need to figure out when these real festivals are, right? This is great. I love it. We're almost finished with First Esdras. So until next time, it's Ridea keeping it real.